Welcome to Health Talk 366, your trusted destination for all things wellness, nutrition, and medical insight. I'm your host, and today, we're diving deep into a subject that will shock many of you, a truth that has been hiding in plain sight. The fruit we're talking about is so common, so widely consumed, that it might be sitting in your kitchen right now. And yet, recent research and overlooked clinical evidence point to an alarming link between this everyday fruit and a sudden spike in stroke risk. Stay with me, because today's episode, shocking truth, this everyday fruit can increase stroke risk overnight, might change the way you look at your fruit bowl forever. We've long been told that fruits are nature's perfect medicine. Full of vitamins, minerals, fiber, and antioxidants, they've earned their place on the plate of anyone aiming for good health. But what if I told you that one specific fruit, widely consumed and even marketed as a health booster, could be quietly increasing your risk for a life-threatening stroke, especially overnight? Let's start by acknowledging something important. Fruit is not the enemy. In fact, many studies link higher fruit intake to lower risk of heart disease, stroke, cancer, and diabetes. But just like any other substance, the dose, the context, and the individual matter a great deal. This story begins with a curious case that landed in a Canadian emergency room. A 59-year-old man with no prior stroke history arrived at the ER complaining of a sudden headache, weakness on one side, and slurred speech. The CT scan revealed an ischemic stroke. But here's what shocked the doctors. He was otherwise healthy, and the only unusual habit he had reported was drinking 2 large glasses of grapefruit juice each morning for the last several weeks, something he believed was helping his health. He was also on medication for mild hypertension. This single detail would lead the medical team down a rabbit hole of overlooked warnings and dangerous interactions. So how could this happen? Let's get something clear right away. A stroke is a medical emergency. It occurs when the blood supply to a part of the brain is cut off or when a blood vessel in the brain bursts. This deprives brain tissue of oxygen and nutrients, and within minutes, brain cells begin to die. There are 2 main types of strokes. 1. Ischemic stroke, the most common type, caused by a blockage in a blood vessel supplying the brain. 2. Hemorrhagic stroke, caused by bleeding in or around the brain due to a ruptured vessel. Now, strokes don't just happen randomly. They're usually a result of underlying conditions such as high blood pressure, the number 1 cause, high cholesterol, smoking, diabetes, obesity, sedentary lifestyle. But what many don't realize is that medications, and even certain foods, can act as hidden triggers. They can tip the balance by causing the blood to clot too much, or by interfering with drugs that are meant to prevent clotting. This brings us back to our fruit of interest, grapefruit. How could something so innocent be so potent? You may have already guessed it. The fruit in question is none other than the grapefruit. Pink, red, or white, grapefruit has long been promoted as a fat-burning, vitamin-rich breakfast essential. But beneath its zesty, refreshing flavor lies a dark secret that many doctors, pharmacists, and nutritionists are still trying to raise awareness about. Grapefruit contains naturally occurring chemical compounds known as furanocoumarins. These compounds interfere with an enzyme in your gut called CYP3A4, which plays a major role in breaking down over 85 medications, including those that control blood pressure, cholesterol, and heart rhythm. When CYP3A4 is inhibited, the drug stays in your system longer and in higher amounts than intended, making a normal dose dangerously toxic. So why hasn't this fruit been pulled off shelves or required warning labels like cigarettes or alcohol? The answer is complex. Grapefruit is generally safe for people not on these medications. Plus, its reputation as a health food is deeply embedded in diet culture. Let's break it down. Grapefruit isn't dangerous to everyone, but it can be very dangerous to people taking certain medications. The root of the problem lies in how grapefruit interacts with drug metabolism. Your body breaks down medications using enzymes in the liver and intestines. One of the most important of these enzymes is called CYP3A4. Think of it as a gatekeeper that controls how much of a drug gets absorbed into your bloodstream. Grapefruit contains furanocoumarins, which blocks CYP3A4. When that happens, the enzyme can't do its job, and that means more of the drug ends up in your bloodstream than your doctor intended. Here's what that looks like in practice. If you're taking a blood pressure medication like felodipine or nifedipine, grapefruit can triple the amount of drug in your body. If you're on a statin like simvastatin or atorvastatin, grapefruit can increase your risk of muscle damage and liver toxicity. If you're taking anti-anxiety medications, immunosuppressants, or heart rhythm drugs, the effects can be just as dangerous. And yes, this includes the risk of stroke, especially if blood pressure medications or anticoagulants are affected. You might feel fine for days or weeks, then suddenly experience symptoms like dizziness, numbness, or slurred speech as your body crosses the toxicity threshold. And since many people drink grapefruit juice regularly, in the morning with breakfast, for instance, they never suspect a thing. Let's bring this to life with some real-world examples. Meet Helen, a 67-year-old retired teacher. She had been managing her high blood pressure and cholesterol with medication for over 5 years. Every morning, she started her day with a healthy breakfast and a glass of grapefruit juice, something she considered part of her heart-healthy routine. Then one day, Helen collapsed in her kitchen. Her husband found her on the floor, confused and unable to move her left side. She was rushed to the hospital and diagnosed with an ischemic stroke. The doctors were puzzled until they reviewed her medications and lifestyle habits. The culprit? A powerful interaction between her blood pressure medicine and her daily grapefruit juice, which had elevated her drug levels far beyond the therapeutic range. Or take David, a 52-year-old software engineer who ended up in the ER with intense muscle pain and liver enzyme elevations. He had recently switched to a new cholesterol-lowering statin and had also started drinking grapefruit juice as part of a low-carb diet. The interaction triggered rhabdomyolysis, a dangerous condition where muscles break down and release toxins into the blood. These stories aren't rare. In fact, a study published in the Canadian Medical Association Journal documented dozens of such interactions every year, many of them involving hospitalizations. So how is it that we keep overlooking this? Most people think they're safe if they're not eating whole grapefruit or sipping juice at breakfast. But what many don't realize is that grapefruit, or its chemical cousins, are hiding in a range of unexpected products. Let's start with the most obvious. Grapefruit juice. Even a single glass can interfere with CYP3A4 enzymes for up to 72 hours. That means if you drink juice on Monday, your medication could still be reacting on Wednesday. Grapefruit extracts. These are often found in so-called natural detox supplements and weight loss pills. Citrus-infused water. Some wellness brands use real grapefruit rind or oils, which can still contain enzyme-inhibiting compounds. Essential oils. Grapefruit essential oil is popular for skincare and aromatherapy, but when ingested or applied topically in high amounts, it may pose similar risks. Energy drinks and pre-workout powders. Some use grapefruit flavoring or extracts to give that tart, energizing taste. The problem? Labels don't always clearly say grapefruit. They may list ingredients like citrus blend, natural citrus oils, or simply fruit extract. If you're taking medications, especially heart, blood pressure, or psychiatric medications, even trace amounts of these ingredients could build up over time. So what does the research actually say? Plenty. In fact, scientists have been warning about grapefruit interactions for over 3 decades. One landmark study from the Canadian Medical Association Journal analyzed data from 1998 to 2012. It found that over 85 prescription drugs had potentially dangerous interactions with grapefruit, and 43 of them could result in sudden death, kidney failure, or severe internal bleeding. Let that sink in. Another study published in Clinical Pharmacology and Therapeutics reported that just 1 glass of grapefruit juice could increase the blood levels of felodipine, a blood pressure drug, by more than 300%. Why is this so serious? Because most drug doses are finely calibrated. When you suddenly have triple the expected concentration in your blood, it's like taking 3 pills instead of 1, without knowing it. The effects can include excessive blood thinning or clotting, unstable blood pressure, a liver toxicity, dangerous arrhythmias, stroke due to bleeding or clotting imbalances. Scientists also emphasize that the risk increases with age, especially in people over 45 who are more likely to be on multiple medications. Let's clear the air. Grapefruit isn't the only fruit that contains furanocoumarins or affects your body's enzyme systems. Here's a helpful comparison. Generally safe fruits: apples, bananas, berries, blueberries, strawberries, raspberries. grapes, non-interacting, mangoes, melons, kiwis, caution fruits, Seville oranges, often used in marmalades, pomelos, a grapefruit cousin, limes, especially in high quantities, pomegranates, some studies suggest mild interaction, high-risk fruit, grapefruit, by far the most potent. Remember, most people can eat any of these fruits in moderation. The issue isn't the fruit itself, it's the combination of the fruit and specific prescription drugs. You might be wondering, is grapefruit the only food that can cause such dangerous interactions? Not quite. While grapefruit is the most studied and most potent example, it's part of a larger group of foods and drinks that can interact with medications. Let's take a look at some other items you may need to be cautious with. Pomegranate juice. Some studies suggest it may interfere with liver enzymes, although the evidence is less conclusive than for grapefruit. A green tea, known for its health benefits, but high doses may interfere with beta blockers and blood thinners. A licorice root, found in teas, supplements, and candies. It can dangerously raise blood pressure and lower potassium levels. Soy products can interfere with thyroid medications. Cruciferous vegetables, like broccoli and Brussels sprouts, can alter how the liver processes certain drugs, especially anticoagulants like warfarin. The theme here is simple: natural doesn't always mean safe. Just like grapefruit, these foods may be beneficial on their own, but when combined with specific medications, they can change the drug's effect or duration in your body. You may be asking yourself, if this is so serious, why hasn't my doctor warned me? It's a valid question. Here's what the research and professional interviews reveal. Many physicians are aware of grapefruit interactions, especially with cardiovascular medications, but they may not emphasize it unless a patient brings it up. Pharmacists tend to be more proactive, especially when filling prescriptions like statins or calcium channel blockers. However, not all pharmacies include interaction alerts on the label. Time constraints in appointments, assumptions about diet, or lack of specific questioning may result in missed counseling opportunities. In a recent survey, only 1 in 5 patients taking grapefruit-sensitive medications were aware of any food-related risks. The truth is, healthcare systems often assume patients know not to mix food and meds, when in reality, many don't. What can you do? We'll talk about that next. The good news is, you're not powerless. Here are simple but powerful strategies to reduce your risk. 1. Read your medication leaflet. Look for food warnings. If it mentions grapefruit or citrus, take note. 2. Ask your pharmacist. When filling a new prescription, ask, are there any foods I should avoid? 3. Check reliable databases. Websites like Medline Plus, drugs.com, or the FDA have interaction checkers. 4. Track what you eat. Keep a food and medication journal, especially when starting a new drug. 5. Avoid guessing. Don't rely on online myths. Instead, check with a medical professional before trying a trendy health food. Bonus tip: some medications have grapefruit-safe alternatives. For example, if you're taking simvastatin, a grapefruit-sensitive statin, your doctor may be able to switch you to pravastatin, which does not interact. The key is awareness and open communication. If you love grapefruit for its taste, vitamin C, or metabolism-boosting reputation, you might be feeling disappointed right now. But don't worry, there are plenty of grapefruit alternatives that are safe, delicious, and still packed with nutrients. Here are some options that deliver similar benefits without the dangerous drug interactions. Oranges, rich in vitamin C and antioxidants, but don't inhibit CYP3A4 enzymes. Tangerines and clementines, sweet, easy to peel, and safe with most medications. Berries, especially blueberries and strawberries, which are loaded with antioxidants and fiber. Apples, heart-healthy, and known to improve cholesterol levels. Pineapple contains bromelain for digestion and has anti-inflammatory benefits. Kiwi, great source of vitamin C and potassium. If you're looking to spice up your morning routine or smoothie bowl, try this nutritionist-approved smoothie recipe. Citrus-free morning boost smoothie. 1 banana, half a cup pineapple chunks, 1 kiwi peeled, 1 tablespoon chia seeds, half a cup spinach, 1 cup unsweetened almond milk. Blend and enjoy a powerful, safe start to your day. No grapefruit required. You've heard the hype. Fasting boosts brain function, keto burns fat, and grapefruit melts pounds. But what happens when you combine these popular health practices? The answer? It could amplify the danger of grapefruit interactions. Let's break it down. Fasting and grapefruit fasting changes your metabolism. When you break a fast with grapefruit or grapefruit juice, absorption is enhanced. There's no food buffer, so the fruit's furanocoumarins hit your system faster and harder. Grapefruit on keto or low-carb diets. Keto dieters often add grapefruit thinking it helps with fat metabolism. But high-fat meals already affect how your body processes medications. Adding grapefruit can compound those changes and elevate drug concentrations unpredictably. Grapefruit before or after exercise physical activity increases blood flow and liver metabolism. If you're taking medications and consuming grapefruit around workout time, you may experience stronger drug effects or side effects due to these metabolic shifts. Moral of the story: know your timing. When you eat grapefruit, and what else is going on in your body, matters more than you think. With all this evidence, you might be wondering, why doesn't grapefruit come with a warning label? That's a great question. Here's what's happening behind the scenes. No mandatory labels. In most countries, including the US, there is no legal requirement for grapefruit to carry interaction warnings. Voluntary warnings exist. Rarely, some juices or supplement companies include a cautionary statement, but it's not enforced. International differences. Canada and parts of Europe have stricter standards. Some pharmacy systems automatically flag interactions, and a few hospitals have no grapefruit advisories. Lobbying and industry influence. The citrus industry is powerful. Grapefruit sales support farming economies in places like Florida and Israel. There's a strong incentive not to stigmatize the fruit, even if the medical risks are real. Regulatory blind spots. While the FDA has published alerts about grapefruit drug interactions, they stop short of requiring packaging changes or warning stickers. In the end, the responsibility often falls on you, the consumer, to be informed. Before it was known as a dangerous drug-interacting fruit, grapefruit had a very different reputation, one rooted in diet trends, celebrity endorsements, and the illusion of effortless weight loss. Let's rewind to the 1930s, when the infamous Hollywood grapefruit diet emerged. The concept was simple: eat half a grapefruit before each meal to burn fat more efficiently. The diet promised rapid weight loss, and by the 1970s, it had become a staple of fad diets across the U.S. Celebrities and pop culture helped cement grapefruit as a symbol of health and slimness. 1970s to 1980s, magazine covers featured grapefruit as a superfood. 1990s, diet books recommended it for detoxing and metabolism. 2000s, juice bars and detox cleanses began using grapefruit for its tart flavor and supposed cleansing effect. But the truth behind these claims has always been murky. While grapefruit is low in calories and high in vitamin C, its ability to burn fat isn't proven. Worse, its interactions with medications were mostly unknown to the public. Even today, many fitness influencers and food bloggers praise grapefruit without acknowledging its well-documented risks. That's the problem with food marketing. It often overshadows medical science. Let's take a breath. After everything you've heard, you might be wondering, should I be worried? Should I throw away all grapefruit in the house? Here's the truth. Not everyone is at risk. Grapefruit only poses a significant danger when combined with specific medications that are metabolized by the CYP3A4 enzyme. And even then, dose frequency and your personal health status all matter. Here's a checklist to help assess your risk. Are you currently taking prescription medications, especially blood pressure drugs, statins, antiarrhythmics, or immunosuppressants? Do your medications list grapefruit as a food to avoid? Do you consume grapefruit regularly, in juice, supplements, or raw form? Have you noticed any strange side effects or symptoms after consuming grapefruit? If you answered yes to any of these, it's worth having a quick chat with your pharmacist or physician. But if you're not on these medications, there's little to worry about. Grapefruit isn't inherently dangerous. It's dangerous in context. And that's the key takeaway. Context matters. Let's go through some of the most common and most important questions about grapefruit and stroke risk. Q1. Can I eat a small amount of grapefruit if I'm on medication? A. Even a small amount can cause significant interactions if you're on certain medications. It's best to avoid grapefruit completely unless cleared by your healthcare provider. Q2. What if I'm not on any medications? A. Grapefruit is generally safe for people who are not taking any medications. It's nutritious and can be part of a balanced diet. Q3. Is grapefruit seed extract safer? A. Not necessarily. Some extracts still contain active compounds that affect enzyme activity. Always check with your provider before using any grapefruit-derived supplement. Q4. How long do grapefruit interactions last? A. The enzyme inhibition from grapefruit can last up to 72 hours, meaning its effects persist even days after consumption. Q5. Do other citrus fruits have the same effect? A. Most don't. Oranges, lemons, and tangerines do not inhibit CYP3A for the way grapefruit and pomelos do. Q6. Why haven't I heard about this before? A. Lack of labeling, limited patient education, and marketing myths all contribute to this widespread knowledge gap. Still unsure? Bring your questions to a qualified medical professional. We've covered a lot in this episode, so let's bring it all together. Grapefruit, a fruit long praised for its flavor and health benefits, can pose serious risks when combined with certain medications. This isn't fear-mongering, it's science. Here's what we've learned. Grapefruit inhibits the CYP3A4 enzyme, causing certain medications to build up in your bloodstream to dangerous levels. This interaction can increase your risk of side effects like excessive bleeding, low blood pressure, or even stroke. The risk is highest in people over 45 who take medications for blood pressure, cholesterol, arrhythmias, and more. The danger isn't just in the fruit. It hides in juices, supplements, extracts, and flavored products. There are plenty of safe alternatives. Oranges, berries, apples, and pineapple provide similar nutritional benefits without the risk. The takeaway: stay informed. Know your medications. Read labels. Ask your pharmacist. And if in doubt, skip the grapefruit. Health is all about balance, not paranoia. By understanding your body, your prescriptions, and your food, you take control. Let's wrap up with some resources to help you stay educated. If you want to learn more, here are some trusted tools, studies, and websites you can explore. Scientific studies and reviews. Bailey, D.G. et al., 2012. Grapefruit medication interactions, forbidden fruit or avoidable consequences. Canadian Medical Association Journal. U.S. FDA. Grapefruit juice and some drugs don't mix. National Institutes of Health, NIH. Drug Interaction Studies and Database. Drug Interaction Checkers. MedlinePlus.gov. Drugs.com Interaction Checker. FDA.gov. Books and educational resources. The Pill Book by Harold Silverman. Food Medication Interactions by Zanetta M. Pronsky. Talk to your provider. Your doctor or pharmacist can give personalized advice based on your prescriptions. Don't hesitate to ask. Apps to help. Epocrates. MediSafe Pill Reminder. My Therapy. Remember, staying healthy means staying aware. Thank you for joining me on this journey through one of nutrition's most surprising health risks. If you found this podcast helpful, be sure to share it with friends or loved ones who might be affected. Until next time, this is Health Talk 366, where truth meets wellness.